everybody, Kate here, and today was, let's just say it was an interesting day for me, and what I would like you to do as I go through this video today is I'd like you throughout the entire video starting now to go like this. This is an exercise meant to mimic a tic. For those of you that have never had Tourette's, don't stop doing this. Keep going as I speak. For those of you that don't have Tourette's or who don't know what it's like to do something that you can't stop, I want you to try that for me as I go through this video today, just to kind of give you an idea of what that utter and total body exhaustion feels like, because as you do this, it's going to start to get really tiring really fast. Today I was working on some studying. I'm getting ready to take, hopefully, what will be my very final exam. I'm hoping I only have to take it once, but there's a professional exam that I need to sit for. And so in and amongst the other things that I was doing for work today, I sat down and I was doing some studying. And as part of that studying, I take notes, I read through things. And as I'm writing, well, that's what I was doing. So imagine the frustration and the challenge and the tiredness that came from doing that. I now have a lower back tic, and it makes me go forward like that. Well, just like you can hold off a sneeze, you can, or people with Tourette's can, in many but not all, just like you can't always hold back a sneeze. We'll say that many times tics can be held back but not all, so don't be going and getting your hopes up thinking that, oh, well, you know, they can just hold it back. No, it doesn't work like that. And insofar as anything can be held back, it may actually change what has to happen. So I'm 42 years old. I have multiple advanced degrees. I am a happily married mother of two. On the outside, I look like I've got it all together. On paper, I look like I've got it all together. You meet me, you'd probably think I've got it all together. And I'm not saying that I don't have it all together. In large part, I do have it all together. But I have this neurological disorder that takes over my body. And the reason that I emphasize these things is because if me, as an adult woman, 42 years old, extremely educated, very focused, got her stuff together, doing all sorts of things, can't control what's going on, and gets frustrated and exhausted and tired, imagine what the kids are going through. And so I just want you to have kind of this relationship with it. And so I'm hoping you're still going like this. Anyway, as I was saying, I had this lower back tic today. And there was a point where I'm like, ooh, maybe I can hold that off so I can keep writing, because it was disrupting my ability to take my notes. And so I stopped for a second. Well, then the movement and the need to move, the muscles saying, no, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this now, moved up into my my upper back. And then combined with the upper back, then I added some facial tics. And I already woke up with a sore neck today. And so this has been quite the adventure. I wanted to talk a little bit about this today. Hopefully you're still doing this. Not because tic sequences go on that long, but so that you get the idea of the severity of muscle tiredness, except people with Tourette's are compacting it into a very short amount of time and then repeating it. And all I'm asking you to do is this for however long the video goes. But I was thinking about the video that I taped before this, so 3 from yesterday, about the importance of self-care and how difficult it can be sometimes for the care providers to take care of themselves. And it is very, very true. And I want you to take time for you. I want you to take a great big deep breath and step away when you need to step away. But it also reminded me today as I was going through these tics and going through some of the, yeah, but I gotta take care of me situation, that it occurred to me, you know, I really just want to curl up and go to sleep and just walk away from all this. So it makes even more sense how anxiety and depression can go in and be comorbid with Tourette syndrome, because it's so overwhelming. And I am very, very fortunate. I am not in any danger of being depressed. I am not in any danger of having high levels of anxiety. But sometimes I just want to shut it down. And I said to myself as I was going through this thought process today and these tics, and I was like, oh, and I was talking about self-care yesterday, and I just want to shut down, and how it can be very, very frustrating when, you know, the kids want just one more hug, and it's like, I've been hugging you all day. And listen, I love my kids, but sometimes it's just like, oh my God, don't touch me. Can I have 5 seconds to breathe? That it's no wonder our kids with Tourette's, and even us as adults with Tourette's, or our teenagers or whatever, are a little bit more emotionally clingy, because it breaks you down. It breaks me down, physically, emotionally, mentally, as I'm going through all this. And I said, well, so what? I'm the mom. I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be able to make it through all this. But the long and the short of it is, I'm human. You're human. We're going to have our good days. We're going to have our bad days. And while I want you to absolutely take care of yourself, I want you to recognize that it's okay not to be able to do all things at all times. I also just wanted to give you a little bit of insight in terms of what it feels like. And I'm hoping you're still doing this. And I'm thinking that your hands are probably tired right here through the knuckles, through those joints. Maybe the muscles on the back of your hands are tired. Maybe your wrists are tired. And so you go ahead and stop now. Thank you for doing that. But think about that. And the next time our children say, I hurt, and we're saying in our heads, yes, you told me that 5 minutes ago. Can you please give me a minute to process and move on to something else? I'm not ignoring it, but yeah, you just told me 5 minutes ago. I am really hoping that I remember how much it hurt for me today. Because as adults, or as an adult, I should say, I'm of the opinion that it's fairly easy to set some of that stuff aside, because gosh darn it, we gotta suck it up and deal. We gotta truck on. We gotta go, and we can't always stop and be empathetic. But I'm going to work really, really hard to kind of reframe the way that I listen. You want to tell me, once, twice, even sometimes 3 times, oh, I'm sore. You know what? I'll listen. Sometimes, please, I know that you're sore. I know that nothing's changed. And I feel guilty about that. But at the same time, I also say, well, I've been there, done that, and you don't hear me complaining. But people handle these things in different ways. And our youth, are not always emotionally mature enough to know when to just stop talking about it and wait until later. I remember when I was in high school going into college, I was an over-apologizer. Absolutely not a tic, just an over-apologizer. But I didn't know how to let it go. And I've learned that there's self-monitoring that's very, very important for me, not only professionally, but personally. And I learned that from that over-apologizing when people finally said to me, Kate, stop. We get it. You're sorry. Enough. And being married to my ex and him not being very tolerant of my tics helped me realize also, I don't need to keep saying, I'm sorry, I can't help it, or I can't help it, or having him say, hey, stop that over and over again. Kind of gave me the reverse. But remembering that I do have more emotional maturity, I do have more knowledge, I do have more experience. And so my challenge to me is to focus more on remembering what happened to me today, so that the next time I hear it 3 or 4 times, I'm not as impatient, but that I respond more with some additional empathy. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to do that right all the time. No, I'm probably going to snap sometime within the next 48 hours, truth be told, because I get it. I get that it hurts. I get that you're sore. I get that you're tired of it. Honey, for you, I'm tired of it too. And I tell my kids that if I could take it from you, I absolutely would. And so then I do ask them to help me remember to be empathetic. But I don't want you to think that you have to be perfect. I don't want you to think that you can't lose your patience. I do. And maybe, again, like I said the other day, maybe you're a better parent than me. Maybe you're a better caregiver and you don't, and you have unending patience. And I think that is wonderful. I am doing this partly as a way to hold myself accountable and to think through things and be more critically aware of not only what's going on with my body, but what's going on with my kids, and how that can help me have better perspective and share it from an educated point of view. Sometimes it makes perfect sense to me when my kids tell me something. Sometimes I have to hear it from a different source in order for it to sink in. Sometimes I have to hear it from 4 or 5 different sources for me to finally get it. And maybe you get what it's like to have Tourette's. Maybe you get what it's like to have a muscle movement or a sound that is uncontrollable. And hopefully that impacts the way that you interact with others, so that you are working to continually build empathy and do the right thing at the right times. And this is some place where I'm struggling, some place where I'm working to try and remember that as an adult, I need to remember to ask for help. I need to remember to act in empathy first, and I need to remember that it's going to be okay. It's absolutely going to be okay. There's nothing that I can do long-term to stop it, so I'm going to adapt and overcome. I'm going to smile through it. I'm going to laugh through it, because sometimes it's really funny. And then when I'm frustrated, I am going to talk about it. I'm going to talk to somebody who will listen, who will respond with empathy, who will listen more than anything. And I work really, really hard, sometimes not as successfully as I want to. Like I said, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes not as successfully as I'd like, but I do work really hard to listen to the kids and say to them, you know, tell me more about what that feels like. Tell me what I can do to help you feel better. And sometimes they'll say, I just want a hug, or, you know, I just wanted to tell somebody. And really for me, and I think we experience that as adults no matter what, sometimes it's just a matter of get it off the chest, share it, and be done, and then we feel better. And then sometimes it's like, no, I really do need to go and separate. And so my point from all of this today is that I'm going to be working on building empathy and remembering for my kids just how much their little bodies are going through, and that their muscle memory is completely different than mine as an adult. And though things may hurt as an adult physically, I've been through many things before as we age, and I can focus on listening to their stories and providing a little more empathy, while at the same time teaching them personal accountability and when to take a break from the complaining, so that they can push through, show themselves that they can push through, and then we can revisit when necessary. Maybe it's a good way to go about it. Maybe it's not a good way to go about it. I'd love your thoughts. I'd love your comments. But that's my take on it right now, is listening, but also teaching that perseverance and that push through, and then I'm going to come back again and focus on myself and empathy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, I'd love for you to share them. Thank you for your work today, and I hope you have a great evening.